want you to know we love you. Open your mind and you will feel eternal happiness. All of your troubles and your sorrows will disappear before your eyes. Just reach out your hands and take our gift of love. When you need us, we'll be by your side, ready to set hope afloat. Always here to lend a helping hand. Count on us through and through. From the bottom of our heart, with a mother's mind, we love you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Monique Bowman, and I'm a licensed naturopathic doctor and owner of Harmony Health and Wellness. I'm also a volunteer and health initiative advisor for the International We Love You Foundation's East Coast region. For those of you joining for the very first time, I'd like to say welcome. And for those of you who've participated in a previous We Love You event, welcome back. The International We Love You Foundation is the International We Love You Foundation is a organization, non-governmental, associated with the United Nations Department of Global Communications. It was founded in 2001 by Chairwoman Jang-Gil Ja. In its mission and purpose is simply to share the love of a mother. As we all know, mothers take care of all the aspects of a family and home, and the chairwoman is doing the same for the global village by carrying out numerous humanitarian efforts. This evening, we're going to focus on health and sickle cell and reflecting on Sickle Cell Disease Awareness Month. For this reflection, we have a very special guest joining us this evening and a very dear friend to We Love You, Dr. Nina Anderson. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Dr. Nina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate this opportunity to share what's great and forthcoming for those living with sickle cell here in the United States, but across the country.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Nina, for participating in this event this evening. We know that you're a very busy woman, but you're taking the time out this evening to join us, and we're so glad to have you with us this evening. Today is September 30th, the very last day of the month of September. Can you share with us what makes this month so special?
Well, as you all know, that September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month, and it has been designated by Congress to increase awareness about sickle cell disease, but also to promote more education and awareness about research and treatments for this disease that affects so many in the United States and across the world.
Wow, that's great. You know, I understand that you yourself are promoting this and raising this awareness by recently, just a few days ago, you held a 5K race and walk in honor of James Fawcett III. Can you speak a little bit about that and tell us what the turnout was like? And, you know, you hosted it virtually this time around?
Yes. Well, it's hard to say what the response was because, you know, with COVID, we could not have a formal event. We usually have it every year at Brandywine Park. So we usually get between 500 to 750, close to 1,000 people that come. But because of COVID, we had to be very careful. So we created a virtual walk where you move in an area where you are at a local park. So last week, I had the opportunity to walk with a sickle cell warrior who's 67 years of age that has avascular necrosis, which bone on bone flattening of the hips. And blessed, we walked the whole 5K run, walk, race, the same path in honor of to continuing this condition, this tradition on raising awareness about sickle cell. And I want to say that there has been such a love and a presence on social media, as well as other organizations like the Sickle Cell Disease Association, and even other warriors across the country that we have been able to connect with and share all of the things that we're doing at TOVA, but also connect with others here locally, but also around the world. So it's just been just a breath of refreshment to see that so many people care about a condition that affects more than 100,000 people here in the United States.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Oh man, I look forward to, this year was the 8th annual event,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
So
yes.
next year for the 9th, I'm sure it's going to be even larger and even better. That's amazing.
Yes,
Congratulations for that.
thank you. Yes.
And if that wasn't enough to keep you busy this month, I understand just a few weeks prior to that, you moderated a forum called Surviving and Thriving After Gene Therapy, which featured a patient of yours who underwent a revolutionary therapy for sickle cell disease. Can you tell us a little bit about that for those who weren't able to attend the forum?
So it wasn't a patient of mine, but I reached out to her because I was very interested in understanding more about the approach of gene therapy. I have a young lady that's the same age as Micaiah that went through the clinical trial. That's a phase 1 clinical trial, who has, I want to report, has been cured of her sickle cell. And so I wanted to hear about her story, her journey, what made her want to participate in such a groundbreaking, transformative clinical trial where there's risk or unknown. And, you know, what we found was that, you know, the sickle cell is such a debilitating chronic condition. This young lady has spent many years of her formative life in the hospital every month for sickle cell pain crisis. And just the opportunity and hope of a universal cure, she took that leap of faith and decided to participate in a clinical trial. So I wanted to hear from her as a provider. It's always great to learn from those who are actually live with the condition and actually went through the clinical trial to better understand how we can help our patients here to consider moving forward with the opportunity to participate if they can.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So this is like we're on the brink of a cure for sickle cell disease.
That is correct. Yeah,
That's,
I really feel that. I really see that it's on the horizon. Yeah.
oh my goodness, that's amazing. So can you speak a little bit about the gene therapy? Like, what is it? Is it a medication? Is it a procedure? Can you tell us more?
So one of the things that I asked Dr. Malik, who is the director of the gene therapy program at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, I was like, it's such a complex and it's almost like a sci-fi episode of how you can't imagine that you can use a lentivirus vector to target the DNA of a red cell and change or alter the gene that's actually expressed, that's miscoded for sickle cell, so that the blood cells are not sickled anymore. So it doesn't express any sickle cells. So gene therapy is an approach to repair the coding sequence in the DNA of the red cells, so those with sickle cell do not make sickle cells anymore.
Wow, oh my goodness. So tell me, that sounds amazing. That's really fascinating. Is that going to be marketed very soon? Like, how long has that been in the clinical trial stages, or how soon can people who have sickle cell disease get their hands on that therapy?
Well, it's in what we call early phase 1 clinical trials here in the United States. So what I found is that there are 12 sites across the country that are actually actively enrolling those who qualify with sickle cell to participate in the gene therapy trials. Now, gene therapy in itself has been around for many years. And what I found out just inquiring is the concept has been around since 1970, where researchers proposed that you could replace the defective gene inside of a DNA of a blood cell with the good gene so that the body doesn't express that mutation or make sickle cells. But I would say in the last 10 years, it's really taken back off again, where these gene-based therapy approaches have actually been used to treat genetic blindness in those in the population, as well as spinal muscle atrophy. It's also used for other conditions like beta thalassemia major and Fanconi's anemia. So I would say that there has been such a resurgence in it, and over time they have been able to modify and adapt their approaches where people are having better outcomes than they did in the past.
Oh, okay. So this isn't really a new therapy. It's just being applied and used now in sickle cell disease. Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing. As you mentioned before, like it's more seeming as though it's on a curative form of therapy as compared to some of the, regular mainstream therapies for sickle cell disease, like blood transfusions and stem cell transplantation. How do you feel, in your opinion, like how do those treatments, or how does this treatment measure up or compare to this new gene therapy for sickle cell disease treatment? What do you think? Is this going to replace those, or is it going to be another option?
Um, it's hard to say because we don't know what the long-term risks are
Okay.
and outcomes are because it's so early on. Though I would say that those who are in considering a bone marrow transplant, it's a little bit more riskier because you're hoping that you have a full sibling. And if you do, there's only a 25% chance that your sibling is going to be a matched tissue donor. And with those who go through the bone marrow transplant approach, there's chemotherapy involved with it, and they can develop what's called graft versus host disease, where their body attacks the bone marrow, and that can be, a very severe complication and also infection, because if you're giving chemotherapy as well, that suppresses their immune system, which increases their risk for infection. So I would say that, my hope is that gene therapy will be the universal cure for those living with sickle cell. And only time will tell if this approach has a long-standing approach will be able to keep the bone marrow from not making sickle cells. And again, as we said, the long-term risk and outcomes are still unknown. So it's like, it's just transformative, but we're crossing our fingers, hoping that it does prove to be efficacious and safe.
Oh, that's great news. Either way, that's great news that, you spoke with the patient who underwent the therapy, and as of now, she's sickle free. Like, that's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Even though this is in the early stages. So we hope and pray that this will be the therapy that we need for sickle cell anemia. Oh, this is
Yeah.
awesome. Um, and before we wrap up, Dr. Nina, is there more that you'd like to share about either this new therapy or anything else about sickle cell disease and awareness that you can share before we?
Yeah, I wanted to say that, in the African American community, as you know, that there has been such a reservation into participating in clinical trials. And so, we cannot move forward and be able to adapt and find new treatments to be able to offer those with sickle cell unless we have those who participate in clinical trials And one of the comments by Dr. Malik that I've just felt was just so empowering was she said that there is no other way to improve therapies. We have to learn, we have to adapt protocol as they evolved. And so I'm urging all of those across the United States and around the world, if you have the opportunity to even just learn more about gene therapy, and if there are other clinical trials that you may meet the eligibility criteria, by all means, definitely inquire about that with your sickle cell provider or your hematologist so that we can have more disease modifying therapies and a universal cure for sickle cell. The second thing I want to say is that this young lady, Micaiah, is a true sickle cell warrior. At 20 years of age, she made that decision, having to go through informed consent, knowing that there's a possibility that she could possibly have died from this new approach, decided that she did not want to suffer anymore with sickle cell. And so she was moved to take that there was an opportunity to participate in this clinical trial. And I asked this young lady, I said, why did you want to do it? And she said, because I wanted to make sure that there was hope for all of those young people with sickle cell coming behind me as well. And so I just was just so impressed by the level of maturity of this young lady that she wanted to do it to make care and treatment better for herself, but also for others, and that they would learn from her. So to see how we can best, adapt this protocol to help others. That just warmed my heart.
That's amazing for such a young woman to have that kind of heart and mind to really take that leap of faith, like you said, to put herself in the clinical trial so that she could advance, bring forward maybe possible cure for sickle cell disease for other people, not just herself, but others as well. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
how long ago was it that she underwent the clinical trial and is now still sickle free?
So she underwent the gene therapy clinical trial in March, and she was in the hospital for 21 days. And after the gene therapy infusion or process, she had to go on what we call apheresis, where she had to get an exchange transfusion for 3 months. And now she is off of all of the therapies and that is required. She does not make any sickle cells. And every month she goes back to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital for follow-up and surveillance.
Wow.
I was like, well, what medications do you have to take? To prevent your body from making any more sickle cells? And she said, none. The only thing she takes is Benadryl as needed for itching. I'm like, wow, that's just such amazing.
Oh my goodness, that is amazing. Is that the only side effect that she's experiencing is itching from the treatment?
It's not from the treatment, it's for her allergies.
Oh my goodness, that's great. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that's awesome.
Yes, yes. And her hair is growing back. So, even with this new approach, there's a phase of the clinical trial where it's called conditioning, where they do give a low dose of chemotherapy, and that is for the to make space for the stem cells and the genetically modified cells to get into the RNA of the DNA of the red cells so that it can modify and fix the miscoded gene sequence. So now she's, her hair is growing back. She's has more energy. She's back at school, and she is so happy and that she went through the process. But she said the chemotherapy, the nausea, the stomatitis, having the sores in her mouth was the hardest part of this process.
Oh my goodness! Wow, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so proud of her, happy for her, and happy for the sickle cell community actually, because this could be it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And so can you continue to share with us, like, what can people do to continue raising awareness of sickle cell disease?
So I also wanted to go back because the We Love You Foundation actually partnered with me and Tova about a year ago to host a blood drive. And so I had the opportunity to travel to Korea and met Chairwoman Zhang Gilja. And one of the initiatives of your foundation is actually to get more of a community to donate blood, not only for those who experience acute crisis, those in war-torn areas that may need blood, but to share with the community, as I had the opportunity, that there's those with sickle cell and other very severe blood disorders that need monthly transfusions just to maintain a quality of life and a hemoglobin level that gives them the opportunity to just function normally. And so we hosted a blood drive at the YMCA in Bear, Delaware, and we had 73 units of blood donated. And that is just fantastic. That means that 200 lives were saved. So I'm so glad to be a part of that partnership and to know that so many people came out to donate blood to save lives for those with sickle cell and other chronic conditions.
That's news, and that's wonderful, and that's something that we can all do to chip in and to help out. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. And do you have any other upcoming events or activities that will continue your work?
As of now, because this is the last day of Sickle Cell Awareness Month, we haven't planned any other activities, but we want to be able to again to do a ping pong tournament because CEO Mr. Lee is an avid ping pong player. And my husband, so we want to try to do that again. It was so much fun when it came down to do that. So we want to try to play some more table tennis. So we call it ping pong here. With COVID, it's hard to say because we really can't gather the same way that we would like to. So we have to be more creative in connecting with people virtually. And so that's always a challenge. So I really can't say that, but we definitely are going to try to continue to have engaged with the community in very innovative ways and to connect with others. So just stay tuned. You can always go to our website at www.tovacommunityhealth.org or like us on Facebook or Instagram at Tova Community Health to find out when we'll be having more events. How about yourself? How about the We Love You Foundation?
Yeah, actually, I was going to share our website so that we can stay informed, so everyone can keep abreast of the next opportunities and events that We Love You will carry out in the very near future. Currently, we're closing the Homework Gap program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where we distributed Chromebooks to students.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was the most recent event that was held just a few days ago, and donating the Chromebooks to the schools. And the next donation of Chromebooks will be in Connecticut. The first one was in New Jersey. So there are many things that are happening, and definitely everything is, of course, posted, and we're so glad to be able to participate in various initiatives around the world. That's the mission of the chairwoman. And again, I just wanted to open the floor to you one last time, Dr. Nina, if there's anything that you wanted to share, because we appreciated your time this evening, for spending your time this evening with us here at We Love You. It's always a pleasure to have you. But any last words?
Well, I just want to say that the future for sickle cell looks very bright, and just the virtual community, the love that has been shown here in the United States and around the world has just been fantastic and phenomenal, and it's just been so um, inspiring to me, and to see you wearing red, and all of those from the We Love You Foundation that follow me know I wear red all the color all the time. Red symbolizes love, and it's the color of blood as well. I also want to say that there's new disease modifying therapies for those living with sickle cell, to help the blood cells not sickle or break down. So I would encourage those in your community to make sure that you connect with your hematologist or sickle cell provider to find out if any of these new medications may help them. And I am just so grateful that here in the state of Delaware that I've just seen such a resurgence and interest in caring and providing high quality of care for those living with sickle cell. And even when I first started the initiative with the Delmarva Blood Bank for a sickle cell blood drive, there was some resistance and reservation to wanting to do that. But I am so glad to report that we actually did a virtual forum together that was entitled Selfless Acts of Generosity, why those in the community should donate blood. And I'm glad to report that the blood bank is interested now in providing educational materials for those in the community for those with sickle cell. So if they identify themselves as African American, then they want to donate blood for those with sickle cell, that they are going to be able to tag and code it appropriately, so that it can be used for someone with sickle cell. And if they can't use the blood, it can be used by someone else. And though that took several years to try to promote, that they're open and interested in doing it now. So I'm just so grateful to see that the diversity of the blood supply grow. That will help not just those with sickle cell, but other chronic conditions as well.
Wow, Dr. Nina, you are an amazing woman. I commend you and for all your hard work, your passion and your commitment to bringing awareness to sickle cell disease, and for your work that you do in the medical community, excuse me, is extraordinary. And it's been such a pleasure to hear from you about all that you've been working on, and the strides that you're making in bringing awareness to sickle cell disease. And it's excellent news hearing that we're even just a little bit closer to a cure for the disease. I'm so happy to hear this, and I'm so glad to have you share this with us this evening. Thank you so much for reflecting on what has made September such a special month in 2020. And we look forward here at We Love You to our continued partnership with you in the very near future. And I'd like to say again, thank you so much, Dr. Nina, for joining with us. And thank you so much to all our participants online for tuning in this evening and joining this event. If you'd like to learn more about Dr. Nina Anderson's work and with sickle cell disease and TOVA Healthcare, please visit tovacommunityhealth.org. And to learn more about We Love You and to support our initiatives, please visit USA.org. Dr. Nina, would you join with me to say good evening to everyone?
Yes.
Excellent. 1, 2, 3.
We love you.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Goodbye. Thank you. I love you all. Take care and stay safe.
by your side.